you just don't understand. And I'm like, okay, what don't I understand? I need to understand. She was like, you don't know. I used to just lay there just so that the beatings would stop.
What's up, family? It's your boy, Coach Crump.
What's going on, man? This is Chizzy, man. We're here, boy, man, king, man. Always a pleasure,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Always
The
a
journey
pleasure.
continues. Like, we're super excited, man, for this episode. We got somebody special for y'all.
Fire.
My boy, my man, 100 grand, the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Marz, Bishop, speaker extraordinaire. Make some noise, man. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Pleasure
coming,
to be
man.
here.
Appreciate you.
Listen, we've been
Thank
already
you.
chopping up. They just joining us here, man. But Chizzy, you wanted to kind of dive
I mean, I'm just, so we start you because you talked about New York. So we're gonna
Yes.
talk a little bit about childhood.
Okay.
Growing up in New York. We talked a little bit offline about your Atlanta experience.
Okay.
You dropped a little nugget about Cali.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Inglewood.
Inglewood. My goodness.
I got to give a shout out to the Wood.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's start off growing up in New York. Give us a
Okay.
little background about Marz, the young boy,
Man.
growing up, family life. What was it like growing up in New York? What borough? How did that play out? How did that
Okay.
contextualize who you are today? What's going on?
Let's see. I was born in Long Island,
Born, okay.
right? Born in Long Island. My early years, very traumatic. Very traumatic. From the word go, my life has been like one big, just tumultuous lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't ask for it. It was just dropped in my lap. And I always be like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like that was a question when I had. So my mother and my father, they met in high school.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They knew each other. They got married. My mother got married at 20. I think she was pregnant with my sister at that time.
Yeah.
And then they got married. But when they got married, that's when the switch happened,
Okay.
right? So I always say my sister got the good part of the marriage,
Okay.
right? She's 3 years older than me.
Okay.
When I came, it was just like,
When you say the switch happened, what do you mean the switch happened?
man, that's when all the domestic violence started.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? My mother was getting beat on,
Okay.
very verbally abused.
And you saw this? With your
Oh, well, yeah, growing up, I did. I did. And I asked my mother one time, I said, Mommy, I need to know a little bit more about my procreation. You know, you always want to know how your birth started.
Sure.
And, you know, to watch my mother's countenance change, like it went from a happy phase to like her going back into reliving that moment.
Trauma. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a tear came down her face. And it hurt me because it's
Yeah.
like, when you talk about your birth, you think about a happy time, right? Nah, mine wasn't happy. And she just was like, you just don't understand. And I'm like, okay, what don't I understand? I need to understand. She was like, you don't know. I used to just lay there just so that the beatings would stop. You know what I'm saying?
So while she was pregnant with you?
Yeah, I'm a product of rape.
Okay.
So I always say from that point, that's where the trauma of my life really started. Because all the hurt, all the pain that my mother went through, when I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with sickle cell.
Okay.
So from that one moment, I always say, like, I still carry the pain that she went through from just laying there and just accepting the beatings. So it was tumultuous. And then, you know, growing up and watching just, yeah.
How did that play out as you, the young man? So you're young, you're experiencing these traumatic experiences, witnessing your mom in an abusive relationship, I would say.
And are you aware of your diagnosis? Like, are you young?
I mean,
after it was told, was it something that was just like, oh, we ain't gonna really bring it up to him? Or was it something that was always reminded, hey, you got sickle cell?
I mean, they couldn't do nothing about it because I would just faint. Like, they found out because of the way that I would just faint. I would just black out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, in the 70s, they didn't really have the sickle cell test like that.
Right. Yeah.
So the doctor, when I was born, didn't tell her, oh, your son has sickle cell. So it wasn't until, like, I was going through the episodes.
So now it's standard for all babies, like they get sickle cell
Oh,
test?
yeah. It's now mandatory that every child that gets born is tested for sickle cell. Yeah. And they're tested for the trait, they're tested for the actual full-blown disease. And I hate to say disease, so I call it a disorder because anything that's out of order can always be put back in order.
Okay.
You feel me?
Yeah, I
So,
like that.
yeah, I don't ever say disease.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I was going through episodes, you know, and then as like my mother, she made that decision to say, okay, I've had enough. And she left my pops and she went into the military.
How old were you when your mom left your pops?
I was somewhere between maybe 4 and 5.
Okay.
Because
But you barely remember that though?
I do. It's crazy because I can still see in my head like those traumatic beatings my mother took. You ever seen your mother be like dragged across the living room floor, screaming, kicking, you know what I mean? And you're a kid and you can't do nothing about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that still is like a vision. I always say I wish there was things in my life I never seen because I can never get rid of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like there's certain times like where I could still see my mother getting dragged across the living room floor, screaming, kicking, and it just, you know, it hurts. You know, it does hurt. So when she went into the military, there was another episode, but this time the episode was near death. So she took me to the hospital, and that's when they came out. You know, they was like, "Ma'am, your son needs a red blood transfusion," and she was like, "Why?" The doctor was like, "You didn't know he had sickle cell?" She was like, "No." My mother didn't even know she was a trait carrier. My pops didn't even know he was a trait carrier.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in order to have sickle cell, you have to have 2 parents that have the trait in order to get it. Like my sister has the trait, but it's somehow, I think it's somewhere between the first and the third child that always gets the trait, that always gets the full-blown disorder. So I was just the lucky one that got it, and I'm the only one on both sides of the family that has sickle cell. So nobody would ever understand what I go through.
Okay. So your mom's being told in the hospital that you need a red blood cell transfusion.
How old are you?
This was 5. This was 5. This was, if it wasn't for that blood cell, we wouldn't be having this conversation. If I didn't have that transfusion, it would be wrapped.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. But
So-
go ahead.
So you have 5, you have this transfusion. So how was life for you as a child?
Oh, I enjoyed it. You know, I mean, it just was in and out of the hospital. But outside of going in and out of the hospital, I had a phenomenal childhood. You know, I ran, I played. You know, I played sports. I played basketball. I played football. I just couldn't play it for real because of the contact.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so just even for me, man, just kind of educate us on like what's the dangers of you having contact with sickle cell.
Sickle cell is basically, it's a oxygen deficient type of disorder. So basically, the red blood cell, it starts out like I'm gonna break it down like this. It starts out like a full donut, right? But when it comes out, it starts to break down. So it'll be like if you took a bite out of your donut, and you know now the blood cell is no longer full circle. Through the blood cell's life, as it breaks down, it becomes sickle. And that's where the problems start, because when it starts to go through the vessels and you have all these sickle cells and you have all these other blood cells going through, it becomes compacted. And depending on how you catch it or not, that's why I drink so much water, because it helps it flow through the vessels, which actually loosens up the vessels so they can go through. But if it compacts, it's a whole nother beast.
And of course, we understand the benefit of having oxygenated blood and oxygenated cells going to your different organs.
And that's where the anemia part comes in, because the anemia part is the deficiency of the iron. The iron is low, you know, so that's the whole part of sickle cell anemia.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because the red blood cell carries the oxygen, it carries the iron, it carries all the nutrients that you basically need.
For your entire body.
Yeah, for your whole body.
Yeah.
And so because of lack of that, it carries the oxygen, which means you don't have oxygen while you were faint. Okay.
So 5 years old, what's the interactions like with dad? Has dad is completely out of the picture? We
have no interactions. And I mean that, man, no disrespect, but if I never see him again in my life, I'm good.
Today, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ever since then, you haven't talked to your
No,
father?
I don't want to put it out there like that. I've had interactions with him. My pops is just a real big a-hole, and pardon me for it, but there's really nothing that me and him would ever have again. like truly.
Normal childhood, going back to normal childhood, normal intensive in terms of your activity in school.
No, I was in and out of the hospital from elementary, junior high. High school was probably the only part that I didn't have no pain.
Okay.
But
So the when you're going in and out of high school, when you're going in and out of school as a child, you also experiencing pain.
oh, crumb, I experience pain right now. I'm in pain, but you would never know it because I'm so used to it. Pain is my natural resting place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what it is to not be in pain. I don't know what it is to have just a regular body. So I operate in pain.
If you don't mind, what type of pain are you talking about? Is it like a
No,
sharpness?
it's like a little ache.
Okay.
It's like a little ache.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But
Like, is it in certain places?
it's all over. Wherever the blood goes, that's where it goes.
Okay.
So it's all over.
So teenage years.
Mm-hmm.
What was teenage? Of course, outside of what we just discussed and the sickness. What was your like growing up? Post the experiences you experienced with dad and mom. What was that like for you as a teenager?
Teenage years was that's when I started to, you know what I'm saying, come into who I was supposed to be or who I was grown into.
Okay.
But had girlfriends and you know what I'm saying, played sports and things of that nature. At this time, my mother had orders my mother was in the military.
Right.
So she had orders to go to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I graduated high school in Alaska. And it's crazy that I never had any type of episode.
So that's 4 different places you mentioned.
Yeah. I've had some experiences.
Okay.
I've had some experiences. Right. But Alaska, I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Uh-huh.
It gave me a different type of environment, gave me a different type of experience. People always ask, is it real with the, the darkness in the day?
Yeah,
of course.
Sure.
Of course. But it ain't how you think. It ain't like, igloos and stuff like that. It was a phenomenal experience. Yeah. I'm thankful that I had that experience.
So you was in Alaska from what age? From
14 to 20.
Okay.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So when did California kick in?
After I graduated high school. Because my aspiration was to be a rapper. That was my aspiration.
Who's your favorite rapper?
Tupac, man.
Hey, you know what I'm
Come
saying?
on, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I had to double check. I just had to double check, yeah. And the fact that it was right off the dome, and I tell people this, right?
We getting into a hip hop debate right now. That's what we're gonna do.
Let me explain.
Because I'm a Biggie guy. But go ahead.
Hey, Biggie, that's my dude
so
too.
hold on.
But
New York, go ahead. And I'll get to the New York Biggie Tupac. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm not talking about a lyricist, right? I'm talking about a rapper in the sense of what you invoke and what you convey to the people in a way that it resonates and it shifts the culture.
Okay.
Nobody was as polarized.
I'll give you that.
As Pac.
I'll
give you that.
And Pac wasn't even 26. But the movies, I'm like, this guy, in 4 or 5 years, what he did for the culture and the industry was just like, and he was so unapologetically him, even in the face of the courthouse, in the face of getting shot, in the face of being in prison. Like, he lived 5 lives in 5 years.
No, 8 years, because he came into the game at 17. He died at 25.
But I'm talking about after he left the group, like when he was really Pop, like. I'm not talking about how the group put him on. Like, that was nice. No disrespect.
After Digital Underground. When he
so you talking about after Digital Underground. Okay, I'm with you.
After Digital Underground, it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he was really Pac by himself.
Right.
People don't realize he did all that in 5 years.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the prison, the shots, the courthouse, the global impact is just like.
You seen the Dear Mama documentary?
I watched it.
All right, we digress a little bit about Pac. So hold on, you're from New York.
Yes.
Because most people who don't know, Pac Connor, he was born up in New York. He was from New York.
He was born in Harlem.
He was on the Kelly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Pac is your guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Biggie guy for different reasons, obviously. And we're talking about lyricists. So we're not going to get into a whole debate about Tupac or Biggie. You know what I'm saying? But all All right, so we're in Alaska. Graduating from high school. We get down to Cali. Park's your guy. Obviously, makes sense. West Coast.
But why is it strictly inspired by Pac to go to Cali to do your rap career?
Yeah, because I went to California strictly to meet Tupac.
Okay.
That was my life goal.
Because I'm checking the timeline. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Yeah, so I'm like,
I'm 20.
And what year is it though?
This is 1990. I'm 5 or 6. Right?
Yeah, so
right before
New York was still popping though.
Yeah,
so New York was still popping when it came to rap.
Yeah,
that's that East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, that was right.
That's East Coast,
in the
West
midst of
Coast.
that. Yeah, right in the midst of that. Yeah.
All right, so we going to Cali. We explore this rap career. How'd that play out? How'd that go? How the
That's so boring. What's up?
I don't rap,
I was gonna ask, but
I don't rap, bro. I'm sorry. I don't. But as we're getting, I'm gonna tell you why I don't.
Okay.
As we start to go into the conversation, but I don't rap no more.
So I'm gonna go on YouTube and pick off some old clips of you spitting bars.
YouTube wasn't even popping then.
Right, that's true. That's true. That's true.
You gotta remember, I'm a 70s baby.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Like me, I'm 75.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. I went down to California, and this is where, like I said, my pops was in Cali, right?
Okay.
So I actually left with my girlfriend that I graduated high school with. So we had went down to California, right? And we stayed with him for like maybe 90 days, right? As soon as we get down there, he put me right back in the same mindset that it was when I was a kid. You know, what they say, a dog will always return to his vomit. So he never changed from who he was, right? So the next day that we get there, there's a little episode with him and his girlfriend. And then, you know what I'm saying, my girlfriend that I'm with, she's like, yo, what's going on? And I'm like, man, do I really have to go through this again? Right. You know what I'm saying? So I have to explain to her, you know, what's happening and stuff like that. So we hurry up and get out of there.
She about to say, I ain't with that.
Yeah, nah, you know what I'm saying? I would never put nobody through that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
You're older now, wiser now.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we actually got a apartment in downtown LA. Right? Like right off of 5th Avenue and Grand.
I've never been to Cali before, bro.
What?
Never been to Cali.
Man.
It's another world.
Yes.
I feel like the West Coast is like there's 3 parts of America. It's like 4 parts. It's like the East Coast, the Midwest, the West, and the South.
Yeah.
Like they're all completely different experience. Like, and the West Coast, I feel like I'm just not in America. I feel like I'm in another part.
It sounds like you experienced all 4 of the spaces.
I have.
Okay.
I have. But to be honest with you, Cali and New York, and nothing trumps New York, and nothing trumps Cali.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because those are the places that made me who I am. Okay. You know what I mean?
Downtown Cali now, with your girlfriend, exploring the rap career.
I'm trying to get into the rap game.
Yeah.
Like I started working. I got like a job in Beverly Hills. I always wanted to be around money. That was my thing. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to put myself in a position where there could be a possible opportunity of running into somebody. You know what I mean? So what actually happened was I had got some opportunities to do some like stand-in acting. Okay. Like what's that called? When you're
what like a filler, like
extra.
Yeah. Extra.
So I did Most Wanted with Keenan Ivory Wayans. Okay. I did an episode of the what is that? The Power Rangers. Okay. I did an episode of that. And then,
so you like when you got your profile picture, like you got your side shot.
It's the smile.
With the black t-shirt.
It's the smile, bro. It's the smile. You know what I mean?
You stupid.
Hey, by hook or crook, I was gonna get in.
You'll make it.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the hustling.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? I did that for a little minute, and then me and my girlfriend, we went through like our challenges and stuff like that. So I ended up leaving, and I got an apartment off of Wilshire and Western, right? So now I'm learning California. Okay. So Wilshire is the main street that runs through downtown. Okay. That's the main street. Western is the side street. Okay. 2 blocks up from Western is Crenshaw. Okay. Right? So I used to live right across
house money.
Huh?
So you playing with house money.
Man, let me tell you how I got there though. So my homeboy, may he rest in peace. But my homeboy, my big homie, he used to work at a school that was directly across the street. Mm-hmm. Now, I met him and a couple other homies by me being upstairs in my apartment. So, you know, he was like, I was banging Pac like real hard. And they was down there just listening. So, you know, I just happened to look over the balcony. He was like, yo, what's up with that Pac? I was like, yo, what's up with that blunt? He was like, come down. I'm like, why? Come up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he had came up. You know, we chilled for a little bit. And then he was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Whenever you want to come to the hood, just let me know. So I'm like, I bet. I'm like, what's the hood? He was like, Inglewood. I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So now it's starting to kick. I'm like, okay, do I really want to go? So he had hit me up one day. He was like, yo, come through. So I'm like, what do I wear? He was like, wear what you want to wear.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Right?
Because I was thinking something
test.
different.
That was a test. Was that a test for you?
For me, it was.
Yeah, you was like, look, if he say certain colors, I'm out.
No, but now look. So the day that I go is me, him, and my other homeboy Doc. And we crossing over. So when you go into Inglewood down Wilshire, that's like an hour bus ride. Right? So you got to go through every hood. I mean, every hood. You got to go through Nip Hood. You got to go through every Crip hood to get to Inglewood. Right? So we on the bus. My man, his name was Rum. He was like, Doc. He crossed over. We banging on him. I ain't know what's going on. So I'm just sitting there, right? So there was a dude who was on the bus. You know, he was opposite of the dress code. So Rum.
What was the dress code? Come on, man. You gotta break it down to us.
So Rum, my peoples was all from the avenues. Right. They was all blood.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's
you know what I'm saying? That my squad was all blood.
West Side?
Yeah, but it was real. It was that real blood gang. It wasn't none of this pretend stuff. Nah. Right? So my man was like, yo, he crossed over Century. We on him. So we on Crenshaw.
It's crazy, bro.
And the dude crosses over Century. We get off the bus. Doc lets off on him. I'm like, oh, man, like, dang, like, this is what I signed up for? You know what I mean?
Let's off the clip?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the gun. Not the gun, the joints.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? No, he just banged on him.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, man, you know what I'm saying? And I'm coming from Alaska, so it's like, yo, you know,
what is this?
Yeah, I'm not equipped for this.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So Rum was like, yo, you better start learning how to throw blows, kicks, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, my man put me onto the game. You know what I'm saying? So after that day, he came back to my apartment and he broke out the phone book. This is when we had phone books. Right. He broke out the phone book. He said, dogs, this is this hood, this is this hood, this is this hood.
He broke it down for you.
You feel me? So he broke everything down. This is where he laced my tennis shoes.
Sure.
And he put me onto the game.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So that way I'll be aware of what's going on.
So let's pivot, man. So in all of this, you're in your 20s, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any point of any of this that you can recall that you're like, yo, I'm a man now? Like, what was that point in your life that you was like, I'm a man now? This happened at this moment, at this age, at this stage. I'm a man because of that.
When can I say that I was a man because of that?
For yourself, like when you said it to yourself.
It wasn't until to be honest with you, if I can be completely honest with you, it wasn't until I came down here that I could actually say that I was a man. Because the mindset that I had in California, I took that with me back when I went back to New York. And when I went back to New York, I went from gangbanging to hustling. Right?
How old are you?
I'm 22. And this is, before I left California, that's when I had my first stroke.
So you got your street education
right
in Cali and took that back to New York.
Took it back to New York and they amplified it.
Okay, pause. You mentioned before you went back to New York, you had your first stroke. I had my
first stroke at 22. I was leaving. We was in the studio. Now, this is where the rap comes in because Rum, Doc, and all of them, they all was into the music.
Okay.
Matter of fact, they was, if you ever go back and look on the first Banging on Wax album, they did the Blood versus Crips. So they was already in the game.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, they was on Death Row when Pac was on Death Row. That's how close I was.
Wow.
Got you.
You feel me? Yeah. I was that close. So one night we was in the studio and I was drinking and smoking like real hard. You know what I'm saying? But I was just so tired of just going through pain. Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew what I was doing. I really was trying to
numb it.
No, I wasn't trying to numb it. I was trying to kill myself.
Oh.
I was because you know what I'm saying? It just became too much. Like I remember I had pretty much an episode before then.
So kind of we're kind of missing some pieces. So it's like you, as you say, you always been in pain, and you got to a point of frustration of always being in pain, and you use drugs sometimes to try to numb it. But this time you was trying to overdose.
I was just trying to because I had just had an episode like not too long before then.
But it wasn't a full stroke.
No, this one. The episodes is different from a stroke. Like a sickle cell crisis is something different. That's when your body just shuts down and you're like in complete pain.
Okay.
Because that's when the red blood cells, they compacted in the vessels. And that's when it goes into a full-blown crisis.
Okay.
So a sickle cell episode, how do you still get EMT support? Like how does it?
I wasn't going to the doctor at all. When I got to Cali, it was just what it was. I just got tired of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll never understand how I feel because you've never gone. Like, my life was born in the hospital, and I lived in the hospital for the duration of my beginning years. So by the time I got to Cali, I was so tired of going in and out of the hospital. So, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do it in front of my mother.
Right. So
that's why, you know, outside of me going for rapping, I really wanted to just escape, like, being under her hand. You know what I mean?
Wow.
We could talk for hours and hours. I'm sitting. I got so many questions, so many things. And I knew earlier, you know, I know the New York vibe. You don't really warm up to people. I get it. You know what I'm saying? We got to be family and all that first. And I appreciate your, how candidly you're talking about your experiences, man. I can't. The man you are now, the man that I see sitting next to me, it's hard for me to see the transition. I know we're getting there. Where is your mind spiritually, intellectually? Are you even in that space?
Not at all.
When you're in the studio, what was the moment that was like, all right, I got to give it all to God?
All right, so the moment that made everything click was when I was down here. When I got down here, I came down here because in New York, I got caught up first-degree robbery, conspiracy to commit robbery, and larceny.
I'm about to say, how did you get here?
Yeah, so that was a transition.
Who did you know somebody here?
My mom, my mom, my sister, my whole family is here. Like my immediate family.
Okay,
they're here.
So your mom was in the military. She goes to Alaska.
She retired in Alaska.
And then moved to Georgia.
Yeah, she was down here already. I went back to New York. I wasn't gonna come here. Like, I wasn't coming to Georgia by far.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it just so happens that one circumstance happened. I got locked up. I was looking at, they told me the charges were 5 to 20. Right? So I spent 4 months in Hartford, Connecticut Correctional Center. Right? So you probably wondering how I got to it's a whole story. It's a whole, I got to protect the guilty on this one.
I got you. I got you.
I got caught up in Connecticut, and out of that whole thing, I spent 4 months in Connecticut in their jail.
Right.
My mom's and my grandfather, may he rest in peace. My grandfather put up his house. My mother got 10 bands, and they bonded me out. So, yeah, a lot.
That's hard for a black family to do that back in the day.
But at the same time, my family's not all black. My mom's is white. See, you ain't even asked me that. Man. My mom's is from Germany. My mom's mom is from Germany. My mom's pops is from Jamaica.
My goodness.
This thing.
You've written a book about all of this, I'm assuming.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
I was about to say.
Bro, you got to, bro.
Yeah,
not
yet.
You got to.
So sorry, not to cut you.
Go
Ahead.
Go ahead.
This is my mixed brother now.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm not just black.
Team light skin in any building. Team light skin.
All day.
but like, I was looking, I'm like, man, I feel like you got mixed with other things, but it just never dawned on me.
Jamaican and German.
Because when you said Cali, I was like, man, I bet you a lot of people like Cali. Was like, man, you look, you from Cali.
They told me I was Filipino when I was in Cali.
Yeah, because you got like that Cali look even right now. Like you got history in Cali. Like for real. That's crazy.
So when I was in jail, I was looking at my life like, yo, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? So I had to reverse engineer what put me in that position.
Right.
And I was just like, I couldn't take it no more. So I was like, God, you get me out this situation, I would never go back to living the way that I was living before. My first covenant I ever made. First time I ever recognized God. Because throughout the trials and tribulations, I hated God with a passion. I hated him with a passion.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I could see that.
So when I made that covenant and they got me out of there, I came directly down here. So when I came directly down here, I started to change my environment, like the people who I was around and stuff like that. I started changing the way that I was moving. You know what I mean? And my mother had a Bible, and I just started reading the Bible, right? And I just started to get closer with God. And I always, since I never had a father, I said I had to know the Father before I could know the Son. You know what I mean? So I had to get to know who God was before I could really believe in Jesus.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And that was the transition of me becoming who I am, on top of me having a 22-year-old daughter.
There's a lot of pieces we missed out on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got to.
This could be like a 10, 12-hour interview, bro.
Real quickly, you know what I'm saying? I got to give it to you real quickly.
So let's kind of for the sake of like I think we got a foundation of childhood with sickle cell.
Yeah.
You know, your young adulthood with navigating the realities of you managing this thing, you trying having your stroke, being incarcerated, back in Atlanta, you had resentment towards that, but now you're in Atlanta. How long you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta since 2004.
So almost 20 years.
Right.
You've been doing some great work in the community.
Yes.
You've been giving back. You kind of kept your commitment to God.
Yes.
Have you felt like that either you are a king or you're becoming a king? Like, where is your kingship in this? And we talk about this and separate, like becoming a man, it's about me. Becoming a king, it's about we. So for you, it's like, where were you like consistently had a mentality of, I'm making sure everybody around me straight?
As of, to be honest with you, how we was talking before, if it wasn't for me connected with Kendall, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was the beginning of everything. That's when, because he showed me what it was and he gave me the principles of how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? So that's where my true development came from. You know what I mean? So the more that
how old were you when you met Kendall?
I was somewhere
30s, right?
In my mid 30s. I was in my mid 30s when I met Kendall. And Kendall's the only one that knows my mother. That's the only one that I would ever put in her position to know my mother.
Okay.
And talk about that. Talk about the power of trying to get to this space as a man. Because you can speak to this too, where even as a grown adult male, you need coaching. You need another. You need like this almost literally the necessity of another man to help you kind of navigate the mentality and the intangibles that you need to even become the thing that you actually have a desire to become.
Yeah.
But there's a gap with the blueprint. There's a gap with the play, like, and you need that. Talk about that.
It was for me because I never seen a man structure, right? Growing up, I grew up in a house of nothing but women. So how do you know how to become a man when you see nothing but women around you? Right. Then everybody that I was around, they was out, they was in the street. Right. So that wasn't a good representation, right? So all the way till I got down here, Kendall was the first one to show me what it was to become a man. You know what I'm saying? That's when I learned how to take responsibility. That's when I learned how to be more accountable. You know what I mean? And I was able to start transitioning my mindset because I had a blueprint to follow. I never had a blueprint to follow.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So at that point, I was able to start developing and cultivating who I was as an individual, and that's how I grew into my manhood. Because at that time, me and my daughter, there was a gap because of what happened between me and her mom. So she put a bridge between our relationship. So when my daughter was about 13, we fell out of communication. So I was always talking to Kendall about my daughter. And he said, bruh, text her every day, regardless if she responds or not. Yeah. Text her every day. I did that consecutively for 6 years. On my daughter's 19th birthday, she responded. Right? So that taught me consistency. That taught me how to be responsible.
I want to make sure we get this. You got with a coach, because I just mentored somebody on this the other day. He said, look, regardless of their response, every single day you text.
Every day.
And it took 6 years.
It took 6 years of
for
dedication.
you to get a response back from your own daughter.
Yes.
To help build the relationship.
Yes.
How is your relationship today?
Phenomenal.
Man, wow.
Phenomenal.
Chizzy, I want you to kind of chime in on that because talk about, again, that coaching part where even as a man, you're trying, effort's not the issue, execution is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into a place of humility because the reality is you got to humble yourself to be like, bro, I need some, you know what I'm saying? And I'm willing to do whatever you say too.
Facts. My dad, I'm a PK. So my dad's a pastor.
Okay.
So I grew up in an environment where I had the resources there. I'm there in Crump 20 years. I remember him being on the prayer line.
Okay.
When we was working together, I'm like, this guy's on the prayer line every day. But then it's only when I made that switch where I said, man, I'm trying to do it all by myself all this time. It's gotten me nowhere. Sometimes God brings you to your knees to have that aha moment and those experiences where you say, all right, I gotta get my iron to sharpen my iron. And so for me, now it's almost a necessity. So when I come to Atlanta to record the podcast, it's like this is the fix that I need to be around brothers like yourself, brothers like Chris, brothers like Kai, brothers like all the other brothers that we put on the podcast, just so I can get my fix and my feelings. So I yearn for a space where I can have a God to be like, to hold me accountable. So the prayer line does that for me as well.
Yes.
So no longer am I using me as a resource, and I'm gonna get it wrong every time if I do it by myself. Because I'm done that. So I'm talking a grown 40-something-year-old man who've had success in other parts of my life. Yes. Who has a 20-year-old son, who's got a 15-year-old daughter that's here currently, that's her now. Wow. Where I'm now starting to say, all right, I'm got responsibilities for these people. I need to be a better me, and have people in my corner like yourself, like all of these gentlemen that help to pour into me, so that I could be a better, I could be a better man, so that in turn translates to how I parent my children.
Yes.
So thank you, Chizzy. Was it like in your 30s, okay, Kendall, like what happened for you to say, I'm surrounded by women, and what happened to you trusting Kendall?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how did y'all meet?
I met Kendall via social media. Okay. I just saw this guy, and I knew a little bit more about who E.T. was, and I just saw this dude with E.T. and like he just kept showing up on my feed. So I reached out to him, and he invited me to the first Grindation meeting, right? So I went to the meeting, and from there, it was a connection. I guess because he's from Jersey, I'm from New York. I don't know. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know. Yeah. So when I introduced my mother to him, like, that was, like I said, that's the only person that I would ever put in her space to meet my mother. Right? And when I saw that they got connected and they hit it off, you know what I'm saying? He really became like my big brother.
It's like family now. Yeah. Mommy accepts him. We good.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if mom gives the okay, she validates it. Sure. You know what I'm saying? You my brother. Right. You know, and on top of that, my mom's got like 3 retirements. She retired from Delta. So when Kendall was doing the whole ET Stay Ready thing, that's how I was able to travel on the tour. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So my mother put him under her benefits. Okay. You feel me? So we both was traveling. Jeez. Wow. Yeah.
Relationships, bro. Yeah. Relationships.
Now what you know is who you know, bro.
And so okay. So you're here now, man. You're speaking all over the country, man. You're doing some great work.
Yes, sir.
Now that you're doing this work, you're in this work, you meet Coach. Coach gets you right as a man. That leads you down to speaking in entrepreneurship the past 6-7 years.
About 8.
8 years now. Where is this going for you? Like, as a man, as a king, like, what's your intentionality about where is this going?
My intentionality is to build my legacy. So my daughter she is the heir to everything that I built. You know what I'm saying? So when you ask what was my transition to a king, it would be my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't be a peasant trying to raise a princess. You feel me? So she holds me accountable, and she makes me step up to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? So looking at where she is now, And the way that I grew up, I don't ever want to leave my daughter my debt.
Right.
You feel me?
Brother, and when you say that, I'm assuming you're not speaking necessarily financial. You're speaking about
anything that's negative about me, my daughter will never have to experience.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's talk about that, because we actually haven't went into this with anybody, but let's talk about when you say, listen, I'm being very practical. You say debt, I'm talking about money, right? So how, that's something I'm building, I'm creating, and for the first time, and looking into the trust and will, and having a conversation with my daughter, who's the oldest, she'll be 16 in a couple weeks. So for me, it's like, as I'm building this and having this, like I had to have a frank conversation with my wife here recently as well. Like, what does that look like for you to make sure you don't pass that debt down? Make sure you give them a solid ground to stand on. Like, what's some practical things that you're doing or not doing?
Well, for me, it's to make sure that, one, that I build that financial stability. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm able to leave it to her. For two, making sure that I'm not doing anything that's outside of my means, that I can acquire a debt. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to be to where, is this going to be beneficial to Amari? You know what I'm saying? Because if it's not going to be beneficial to Amari, then I don't even want to get involved in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she right now, she's entering into college. She chose to go back to school. She wants to become a nurse. Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So her and I haven't had that conversation, but I already know in the back of my mind, like, I'm going to take care of whatever occurs within college. Like, she just got her braces, and she hit me. She said, "Dad, can you help me with my braces?" I paid that off. She don't have a bill for braces. That's done. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So whatever her debt is my debt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so whatever she gets in, or like with college, I'm not gonna have you have to pay off all these student loans.
But that's the thing. Like, if you don't have the scholarships, bro,
Yeah.
college is actually a big setback.
Yeah.
For a lot of people in their career, that they don't want to get out until their 40s.
Yeah.
If they get out.
Yeah.
So that's huge, bro.
Trust me, I know my son's in his junior year in college, and my goal was to make sure that I ain't taking out no student loans. So even if it means I'm gonna work extra hard or put things on the side to ensure that I can just pay that off and him not have to deal with it, then that's exactly what I think we're called to do if we have the means to do so.
Yeah, if we have the means to do it, but at the same time, I'm also teaching her responsibility.
100%.
Don't get loans, get grants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I had her, like, Mari's been she's been my pupil outside of my daughter. She's been like, I don't do coaching because I know the mindset and people don't want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? But
it's funny. It's funny you say that. I struggle with relaunching. People have asked me to coach them all year, and the reason why I struggle is, first, and I hope people take this in the proper context. I really want to help people. I just think people don't really want to help themselves sometimes.
Exactly.
So it's like, because I'm going to challenge you to get outside of you. And
are you really serious and serious you want help? That's really the question.
Yeah, and you
serious
and
about
you
the
really,
help that you want?
It's not even are you serious? Are you serious about
really
doing the work?
Yeah, do we
Are you
do
gonna
the
do
the
the
biggest
work?
thing is, it's so much work. Like, if you ain't, man, because we can have these dope conversations, and I'm not interested in the conversation.
Right.
So it's like I had to be honest about myself. I've done so much work.
Yeah.
To get, I mean, I can't even begin to try to quantify it. But if I did, I don't want no tire kickers.
Yep.
No people that just want to just talk.
Yep.
Just hear stuff. Like, you have to say, I'm serious. I'm willing to do whatever work. And I was just like, so we're still struggling with my own program because I'm struggling with people. Are people serious to take the program?
Yeah.
That's really because I'm not desperate for $1. So you got to ask yourself, when you're not desperate for money, is this worth my time?
Right.
Because now my time means a lot to me
100%.
right now.
It's way more valuable than money.
So I could do this, but it's like, bro, if my name is on it and my time is given up, like, it has to be for people that are dead serious, who I'm not gonna, like, trying to, trick into getting. I'm not even into that. Here it is, you're gonna do it. I don't care if you do it or not, but I'm only gonna entertain people that are taking themselves very seriously. You know what I mean?
I just had that conversation. I had that conversation this weekend. This weekend I attended a conference out in Atlanta, and there was a young man. He was the like the security guard, and he was only 21 years old. And he asked me at the end. He was like, "Do you do any mentoring?" I said, "Bro, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't do mentoring and I don't do coaching, and I don't do it because you're not gonna do the work that comes with it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it sound good, but you're not gonna do the work. Yeah. And I would rather just give you some jewels right now. And if you're able to move on these, then we'll, you know what I'm saying? I give you my number, and then we can have a conversation. But I don't do coaching, and I don't know mentoring. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna do what it takes to get to where you want to get to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So as you transition, man, what do you want? You know, you talk about your daughter, like in a perfect world, as a king, everything's done now, right? Everything's settled. 5 years from now, what does this thing look like for you as a king looking over your kingdom?
Looking back is just looking at it and just looking at, damn, I made it here. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what it was all for. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I see my family being taken care of.
Come on.
My mom's is good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I pay off her mortgage. Yeah. My daughter's good. Yeah. She don't have no debt. Come on. You know what I'm saying? My sisters are good. My relationships, my mental space, everything is good. You know what I'm saying? I'm truly ruling my kingdom.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it looks like for me. So that way when I could, you know how they look and you see the sun rising? That's how I see me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see you now. I see you. Like
I'm able to look out and be like, I did this. You know what I'm saying? Like I left my fingerprint on this world. Yeah. And that's what it's all about for me, is to be able to make an impact.
I see it, bro, man. We wish you nothing but the best success,
Thank you.
Man. Let the people know where they can find more information about you, man.
Well, I'm on all social media platforms. Marz Bishop, that's MarzBishop. Every platform that you check, LinkedIn, Facebook, social, what's that? IG. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like any social media. I like upfront and personal, you know what I'm saying, interactions. Yeah. But you can find me there while I'm here.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, look, man, appreciate you, man. My boy Chizzy. Man, Marz
yes,
Bishop,
sir.
Man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining us, man.
Yes.
Appreciate
it. Next time.
Yes.
Boy Man King Podcast. The journey continues.
Yes, sir.
We out.
Peace.